Hello and welcome to Desync Nerds, a Nintendo Switch podcast.
We're your hosts, Devin and Colin, and each week we'll bring you all the latest news and hot topics from around the internets. But before we start, we like to do a little week in gaming, and Devin, I'll let you take it away. What have you been playing this week?
So I got Fire Emblem Warriors on Friday, and it is exactly what I expected. That's actually not true. It's a little bit better than I expected. Yeah. And I think we'll talk about that next week because you get yours sometime this week. But
Yeah, I was supposed to get it already, but I didn't.
Yay, Amazon. Yeah. But I also finished up Stardew Valley. I don't know. I may go back to it, but I'm kind of my
beat Stardew Valley.
Finished. The distinction is important.
You beat Stardew Valley.
Each you. But yeah, I'm kind of losing interest, and I'm trying to wrap it up and get to the point that I'm satisfied with. What about you? Did you do anything crazy this week?
I mean, I was excited for Fire Emblem Warriors. I ordered it for like same day, but I guess something happened. So instead of playing my Switch basically at all, I played NHL 18 on the PS4. That's not relevant. So no, I did nothing.
I seem to remember someone saying they weren't a console gamer, and the only console they had was a PS3.
I've secretly always wanted a PS4. And I came into a credit card, so now I have one. So I've been enjoying it.
Because adult.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, basically.
I'm building credit, so now I have a PS4. That's my excuse.
Fair enough.
So anyway, news. Yeah. I'll let you start.
All right, so we saw a update to the Switch system from 3.0 to 4.0 or whatever. We got some new features with it, some kind of cool stuff. They got a 30-second clip recording for 4 specific games, so you can just record a 30-second clip of a game. But it literally only works in Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, ARMS, or Splatoon 2.
So do you have to hold down the capture button the entire time, or is it? Do you just lose a hand while you're trying to record that?
I haven't actually used it yet. I saw something about capturing the last 30 seconds, so it might be in the home menu. I should honestly play with that. I have all of those games.
So. Because I didn't get Warriors, I updated mine 5 minutes before the show started, so I haven't had a chance to play that either. Why don't you tell me how your brother feels about this save and profile migration that they added?
I wasn't 100% if I wanted to make fun of him on the show, but yeah, I think.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
So they also added, save and profile migration. So funny story. My little brother is playing on my Switch. This is before he's decided to buy his own. He's playing Breath of the Wild. He got pretty far. I think he got through 2 of the Divine Beasts. He had, a bunch of the shrines. He was far enough that losing his progress would have been frustrating. And then he bought his own Switch and lost his progress. This was, 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like a month, yeah, about.
And I deleted his profile because I was like, unless you want me to keep this on here so that you can play it, I'm just going to kill it off. And he was like, yeah, no, get rid of it.
Hilarious. I feel like we had to know that was coming because I don't know. That felt to me like that was wrong that we couldn't do that.
Yo, there is so much wrong with how Nintendo does online, though. Friend codes, like, mic drop, we're done.
So I don't actually know what is the complaint with friend codes. I think they're fine. They're annoying, but I think they're fine.
In a world where I think Blizzard has the perfect system for like friend adding, where it's your name and then just a small 4-digit number. It's not 16 digits. Like at one point I had my Blizzard number memorized.
I have mine memorized.
Exactly. You will never memorize that 16 or 24 digit friend code. And that to me is the issue, is that in order for you to friend me, I have to go get my Switch and I have to
find it in the menus. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, because it's not even that obvious. You have to dig for it. It's not a big deal, but it just feels to me indicative that Nintendo's not really willing to pick this stuff up from other people. They're gonna go their own way, even if it's a mistake.
Wrong. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we digress. The ability to pre-purchase games in certain games in the eShop is now available. I think wasn't Warriors one of those games?
I believe so. Yeah.
So that's exciting. That's stuff that we've seen in other online stores.
Yeah, small quality of life thing. It's cool that they have it, and yeah.
Now this one, I I'm not so sure about this. It also gave the ability to use wireless USB headsets. Believe it's only a super limited set of USB wireless headsets at the moment, which is why it's not in the patch notes, which you so lovingly call them out for.
Wasn't it all critical? I don't know.
No.
I see a lot of like just crappy patch notes that's just like uh not fully describe, doesn't fully describe what changed, doesn't accurately describe it even if it does mention it, and it just, it's really frustrating as a player to go, well, what's different? And okay, now I get to stumble around and figure it out on my own rather than. So yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'll agree. Like the worst thing in the app store is like when you update an app and it's like minor bugs and fixed. No, tell me what you fixed. But at the same time, I feel like it's not a complete feature yet, which is maybe why they didn't mention it.
I mean, if it's not
I
a
don't
complete
know.
feature, why is it in the main system? I guarantee you that they can push test patches to their little test batch of switches. And if that's what it is, I don't know why it's in the public, public update.
I don't know, man. Somebody forgot to flip the switch off, like Fortnite crossplay.
Honestly, that's probably correct.
But so having said that, the next thing that we're going to talk about is Joy-Con updates. Nobody knows what they are, like what they updated. You can go into your system right now and update your Joy-Cons. I've updated both of mine. I have no idea what that did. There's no information on it, and as far as I know, there's no documentation on it. So
Yeah, I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any speculation either. I was looking for like a Reddit thread where they were like, "Oh, my old Switch or my old Joy-Cons do this, my new ones do this." I couldn't even find that, so I don't. It's also not pushed very hard. Like you have to find the menu out and do it. I still haven't done it, and I am not having any issues. So
yeah, you mentioned it, and I went looking for it, and I found it. But yeah, if you hadn't said anything, I never would have known.
exactly. So it's clearly non-critical. I'm super curious about what the Joy-Cons even like, what their process does, what their software does rather. Like I just can't think of anything that would really be controlled by that isn't built into
That
the system.
requires, yeah, and then requires its own separate update. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I don't know.
it's interesting. I'm hoping that they spit out some information about that because I'm really intrigued.
I'll let you take the next one since you're a fan and I'm not.
You have no understanding of any of these things. That's okay.
No, these are words.
So the InXile Studio, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, they got approved for development on the Switch, and these are the people who made Wasteland 2, which is the spiritual successor to the predecessor to the original top-down Fallouts, if that's not word salad.
You said words.
Exactly. Basically, it's the top-down isometric RPGs from, what is that, mid-90s, late 90s, around there, like Pool of Radiance, Baldur's Gate, those kind of games. God, my screen. So the idea that those kinds of games will be okay. So they've also made Torment Tides of Numenera, which is a very similar kind of top-down RPG. It was the successor to Planescape Torment, which was a very, very like do it your own way. You could play that game fully pacifist, never kill anybody. You could play that game as like a merchant who just hired people. It was very much so do what you want kind of a game. And I don't know. The idea that that person is going to come to the Switch is very exciting to me. I can see that sort of game be very enjoyable on a touchscreen, portable, that sort of thing, if they can get the UI correctly. And I do think that that'll be kind of a hurdle for this type of game.
Do we have anything that's vaguely like any of those games right now?
Nothing comes to mind. The closest thing that I've seen on a console recently was the Dragon Age games, where you could sort of,
okay.
Yeah, there was a setting that you could use where you would zoom out and you'd get the top-down view and you could control your party, and
That's how I played it.
yeah, so and that's very similar to these old games that I'm talking about. I feel like those are definitely the kind of inspiration for that version of Dragon Age. So it's definitely doable, and I think the touchscreen would only enhance it. So, but yeah, I'm excited. There are like 10 other people who give a crap and are excited with me, but
And you're four of them.
I have so much hype that I am for.
Yeah, exactly. So moving along, only 2 of the top 2 downloadable games are from Nintendo. We talked about this a little bit last week, how the third-party and indies support is growing and amazing. And yeah, 2 of the top are from Nintendo. So 2 of the top 10, yes, are from Nintendo, which is great.
Yep. And we're getting
Um,
third parties. We're getting indies. Between this and their release cadence of big flagpole title every month, as well as all of this smaller stuff that kind of gets thrown in there, it's showing me signs of being healthy, and it's very heartening.
at the very least, it's not the Wii U again.
Yeah.
It'll be its own bag if it fails,
Yeah.
which obviously it won't because it's not.
Yeah. They've got a strong first foot at the very least. So.
Yep, and continuing on that vein, November 10th, not Nintendo 10th, Doom comes out. And we've got a quote. You're going to have to explain this slowly to me in as many words as possible.
Do I need to get the crayons?
Yes. Okay. So the quote is, "I'm bummed some gamers focus on frame rate or resolution and don't focus on is it fun." I agree 100%. I think that's a problem, especially recently. That's a problem all these kids have. All they care about is 4K. I almost said 40K. 4K and 60 frames and whatever, 1080p.
Yeah.
Like Minecraft isn't any of those. Actually, it's some of those, but it's Minecraft.
It's 1080p, but really
Him.
blocky.
Yeah, I agree with him. Final Fantasy VII was fantastic, and it was Lego Man on like clearly MS Paint background. I don't know.
It was a beautiful game. Okay.
No, it wasn't. So I agree, but you said what's your take on this?
So I do agree in concept that when you've got a game in your hand, you're not gonna go, oh, I can see like screen tearing there, this is the worst game. Like, if you are really so worked up about the visual fidelity, you probably shouldn't be on a Nintendo console. They've always been underpowered since, after the SNES. No, the 64 was on par. But after the 64, they were consistently behind everybody else. The Wii was not even HD when every other console at the time had HD. So
I do actually remember this being a conversation when the Wii came out, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're really looking for that high fidelity kind of experience, you probably should play on a computer, play on an Xbox, play on a PlayStation. Don't but also the statement don't focus on is it fun, does it feel good, is kind of asinine when the game's not out yet. We just can't focus on that. I don't know if the port feels good because it doesn't release for...
I mean we know Doom is good. You feel like the port's going to be violently different?
I will draw your attention to Stardew Valley or Final Fantasy Tactics. Those are both games that suffered in the porting, and I would argue with Final Fantasy Tactics that kind of ruined it a little bit.
I'd argue that Stardew Valley does too, a little bit too, yeah.
Yeah.
In about the same amount. I mean, you're right. I'll agree, but it was still Tactics. It's still Stardew Valley. It's still a fun game. Even if the port's bad.
In both of those games, though, the minute-to-minute feel is not critical. In an FPS, if it doesn't feel good,
Mm-hmm.
So I still have high hopes. I still don't think there's going to be an issue. I kind of take issue with that quote. We see it in other games too, where people are paring down like Mario Odyssey to its frame rate, and it plays 720p handheld 1080 dock, so I'm never going to take it anywhere. Like, it becomes this like checkbox that you have to hit, and if you don't hit it, even if people don't actually notice, like, it's kind of hard to see the difference between 720 and 1080 on that tiny little screen.
I was just gonna say, like, how much of Breath of the Wild did you play docked versus handheld?
Enough to not have noticed the difference.
Yeah, because on handheld, the 720p, in my opinion anyway, looks just as good as on the TV, probably even a little better, because it's harder to discern details.
Mm-hmm.
My only complaint actually with portable is I have a dead pixel like already, and it drives me up the friggin' wall.
You have a dead pixel already?
Yes, I do.
I mean, they just put in profile swapping. Why don't you just go return that and get a new one? Like, I'm only kind of kidding.
You need the number is insane. It's like if you have 10 pixels, then you have a case. Until you have 10, I looked it up because it was driving me apeshit.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I don't have enough to warrant a replacement yet. And honestly, if I leave it docked, which oddly enough, that's how I've been playing it mostly, it's not a problem because you don't have to look at the screen.
Hmm.
And in darker games like Doom, I'm sure it won't actually be a problem because it's stuck off. It's not stuck on. It's not a hot pixel. It's a dead one. So
That's good at least. Yeah, the one white one is really bad.
oh my god, I had this problem with I bought the first PSP ever, and I think that one had 3, and then I bought the first PS Go ever, and that one had 1, and then I think my Vita was clean actually. And I've never had this problem on a Game Boy or Nintendo DS or 3DS, so I'm really sad. But you know, it is what it is.
Hmm. So real quick before we get into the notable releases, I did want to slot one more thing in here. So Ultra Sun and Moon will be the last mainline Pokemon titles for the 3DS, implying, of course, that the next mainline title will be the Switch. I think you're more plugged into Pokemon than I am. What are your thoughts, as you have the Pokemon on your hat?
I mean, I've been a fan ever since, like up until Sun and Moon. I didn't like what they were doing with Sun and Moon. I agreed the series was stale and needed to change. I didn't like any of the changes that they made in Sun and Moon. I'm happy that they're moving on. Of course, I knew they were going to. I was gonna, wait to see the next one. I'm excited because I read an article recently that they said that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were, they felt, as far as they could push the 3DS platform. They felt like that was it. That's all they can do with this platform. It's time to move on to the next thing. I'm glad the Switch is there for them to do that, and I'm excited to see what that looks like because like it could be so much better. Absolutely, could be so much better. It could be like a 3D um like open world adventure type game. I feel, and I feel like the Switch will allow them to do that maybe. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm excited.
I really hope that they take clues from stuff like Breath of the Wild, and that more what was previously a linear experience is now much more open and expandable. Like I feel like they have a lot more power in their hands that they can work with, and that could be good.
Right. Right. I agree, and I'm excited. If only to see Sun and Moon stop being like the newest game out. I'm excited.
And then I'm actually gonna throw one more thing in here. We got a release graphic from Nintendo on the releases for the upcoming year. If listeners haven't heard that, you should definitely check this out because it's amazing. I can get this to you real quick. Because production stuff is great.
I like how you don't send it to me in Discord. That was my favorite part.
I can't mess with Discord without screwing up the stream.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're good.
But yeah, so it shows split left hand, right hand, Switch versus 3DS. It's got every major release coming up, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. It also shows you the tentpole releases in the past, so it's a pretty cool little infographic. And you have thoughts?
No, you just keep saying tentpole. You mean flagship? I'm confused. I don't know.
Tentpole's a
It
word.
doesn't matter. It's not that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'm just teasing. Yeah. I'm so, this thing, although it doesn't replace the 3DS, in my opinion, has 100% replaced my 3DS. Like I still haven't finished Shadows of Valentia yet because it's on the 3DS, and I'm just Switch. That's all I care about anymore.
Yeah.
And PS4, but whatever. Shut up.
There was a lot of
yeah.
talk when the Switch first came out that people were worried they were going to just kind of abandon the 3DS right away, and they were very, very strong to say this is not a replacement. Yeah, you're making that face, and I agree with you, but here we are. They didn't want people to feel like their old purchase was garbage. I think it's because they're still releasing, like they released a special edition 2DS recently in the last like 2 months.
I think that's because there's a patent troll out there. That's relevant. Like I'm actually surprised that Fire Emblem Warriors came out for both platforms. I didn't realize the 3DS was powerful enough for. I know it's just a Warriors hack and slash game, but I didn't realize it could handle that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I never once thought. I mean, I'm obviously not one of those people, but I didn't think for a second that that was going to replace it. I hope it eventually, like, they stop, or at least they put ports from the 3DS onto like the online store for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to stop buying 3DS games, but like if you're Nintendo, that's insane. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I think one of the big issues is that the supply side stuff is still a struggle in Japan, and so they don't want their fans in yeah, wow, English. They don't want their fans in Japan to feel like they have no way to give Nintendo money, and so they're still kind of gonna drip feed that stuff out. I feel like we saw
Yeah.
this with the original DS too, where there was DS releases like a year after the 3DS came out, and it was just kind of confusing.
I was like a super late adopter of the DS. My first DS was the DS Lite because I had like Game Boy games still because I was still playing Fire Emblem, which weren't um, until very recently DS games, so I didn't really care.
Hmm.
So I didn't see any of that. I was afraid when the DS came out that they'd stop making Game Boy games, and that wasn't the case for quite a while.
Yeah, so I think it's just their way of being inclusive and making sure that their old fans don't feel shafted
But I
by.
mean, like that's a ridiculous thing to think because when the PS4 came out, every game for I want to say a year came out for the 3 and the 4.
Hmm.
Same thing with the 360. Like every console that goes up recently, I don't remember. Like I don't think the PlayStation to PlayStation 2 did the same thing, but from like the 3 up and the Xbox up, they've always done a little bit of both, and then they slowly phase into the newer thing.
Hmm.
So to think that to me is just absurd. But I don't know, whatever.
I just remember it being a big deal when the Switch released that people were worked up about, and Nintendo was very quick to say, "Nah, it's cool."
People are silly.
Yeah, you're right.
So we done at the news.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Notable releases. I'll take this first one because I don't want to touch the next one. The first one is Poi Explorer Edition. $30, October 23rd. It's a 3D platformer. Is going for that 64 era nostalgia for 3D platformers / collection games. Specifically calls that out in its media that it's harkening to the 64 nostalgia. It has a really interesting looking level editor and seems a lot like Mario 4. I don't understand I never played that one.
You're combining some stuff. It seems really
Oh, okay.
brave to release something that overlaps so strongly with Mario 4 days before Mario like Odyssey
Oh,
releases. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Um,
yeah, got you.
this
Hitting it
actually,
hard.
I'm amazed that they're doing this because it's on the doorstep of Odyssey, which is the quintessential like 3D platformer. It's
But is it a full? It's $30.
That's
Is it a
true.
full game?
Uh, it seemed like a full game. The level editor also obviously adds a lot of like community content that is available, but it didn't look like a stripped down game in any way, shape, or form that I saw.
I mean, Oceanhorn doesn't look stripped down. If Oceanhorn and Legend of Zelda came out,
I'd say that
I
was
would.
dumb.
Uh, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I don't put like yeah they're similar, but I would definitely think oh yeah forget I'm gonna play Odyssey first and then I'll play that one after,
If you
or I
remember
just
to.
won't play exactly, or I just won't play that one. I'll play the big title first.
Exactly, and that's my point. That's where the issue is to me, is that
Oh okay.
I feel like they're kind of stabbing themselves in the foot by releasing right now, because if you say I have $60 or I have however much money I have from my games, I can't spend a dollar more, nobody's gonna buy this. They're gonna buy Odyssey over this because I mean Odyssey is that flagship release. So the one thing that does put it up is that it's got a level editor. I've never seen a 3D platformer with a level editor. That is so strange to me. I love it, but it's also very strange.
I feel like I've played one that's had that before, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, why don't you take away the next one?
You say you're not gonna touch it, but also I feel like there was some market
No,
feelings here. So it's Knights of the Azure 2, Bride of the New Moon. It is a $60 game coming out on the 24th. It is an action RPG, and we actually talked about. I don't know if we mentioned it by name, but we talked about the idea of the mature games, and this was one of the ones that came up. Uh, that Nintendo surprised the developers by kind of saying, "Hey, we are interested in this." It
and they were
looks
like, "What? Okay, yeah, you can have it."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because why wouldn't you? Um, it's very titillating. There's a lot of scantily clad women. There's invariably it looks like they spent a lot of money on their jiggle physics. It's just that sort of game, and it honestly kind of looks like there's a good game under it. I I just I can't get over. She's wearing a bandage over her chest, and that's it.
You've seen the swimsuit trailer? Oh my god, it only gets better.
I saw a screen, the screen that you showed me, and that's literally all I've seen of it, and that's enough for me to. Yeah. Again, that face. That's me right there.
Disgusting. But it looks like the Nier game, and the Nier game's a lot of fun. So I kind of want it, but I kind of don't.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before the stream started, there's skins you can put on Minecraft to make it look a little less terrible, take the edge off. If you could get like a skin for this game that put clothes on these women,
Put a t-shirt on them.
Yeah, just even if it's white, I don't care. Just put a t-shirt on them. I would buy it in a heartbeat because it looks a lot of fun. I just don't. I'm not a depraved 13-year-old, so I'm not salty. You're salty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've seen this before with other stuff where it's like, yeah, I've got the feels.
Anyway, The Mummy Demastered, is that what that is? Nice.
I think so.
Okay, $20. I hope it's not remastered and you just typoed pretty hard there. $20, October 24th. Retro styled art and music. Yeah, and you have a little note here that you want to talk about.
So it is a tie-in. Okay, it's a Metroidvania. That's important. That's a very important word.
I wasn't even going to try to say that word. Metroidvania. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
Metroid Castlevania. Yeah, because they pioneered it. So it's actually a tie-in to a movie from earlier this summer because there was a new Mummy movie that came out with I don't know who's in that movie.
That one actor and that one actress.
Yeah, exactly. But despite that, everything I've seen, and I've seen some other opinions too, it looks like a surprisingly competent game. It may actually be enjoyable. The art was really good. It looked like it played really slick. I'm actually kind of interested. I don't know how it will be. I've never really gotten into Metroidvanias too deeply, so I don't know how it'll be as kind of a baby's first, but it definitely looks like an enjoyable game despite it being a tie-in, and I don't know what to say about that.
I mean, sometimes lightning strikes.
Yeah, yeah. Broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, there you go. It's one of those.
Yeah, but yeah, it sounds and looks really good. It looks really slick, so I might actually pick it up.
All right, and then the last we have on our list, and I love your note for it. Super Mario Odyssey.
I've never heard of this one. Have you heard of this game? I
mean, I don't know. What's a Mario? What's a Mario? As I almost said.
It's some weird franchise.
Nice. $60, October 27th, right in time for your Halloween party. And then the note you have here is it's a Mario game. You want to expand?
I mean, it's a 3D Mario game. Like it has to be. Yeah. It has to be highlighted because it's the big release of the month, and I'm actually excited for it. I was watching some gameplay and it looks fun. It's a 3D Mario game. If you don't know what you're getting into at this point, I don't know what to tell you. They've been functionally the same since the 64. Like,
well, this one actually, like the early reviews for this are like Breath of the Wild level good or better. That I've been seeing like near perfect scores or perfect scores from everybody.
Yeah, Famitsu gave it a 40, which is
insane.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Cappy feature, the possession feature seems cool, but I don't see it being. I feel like I'm gonna feel similarly to this as I did to Breath of the Wild, and that it's a good game, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll play it, and I'll beat it, but it's not.
No, you're wrong. It's the best game ever.
Maybe I'm being too much of a hater, and I need to put down the haterade, but
best game ever.
I mean, it's pre-ordered. I'm gonna get it on Friday, like unless I have an Amazon situation like you.
Please don't. It's too soon.
But yeah, that releases next Friday, and it's $60. Go buy it. You can pre-order, or not pre-order. You can pre-purchase this, and then it'll be available at midnight on Friday.
And then you don't have to worry about Amazon messing up.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. But yeah, that's it for the notable releases of the month. moving on to our segments, I have seen a bunch of games in the last. There's two new ones coming up this week. There's uh two that were released last week that are very much so giving me the mobile game feels, and it scares me. We saw the mobile market, the phone market, go from decent but not great to this race to the bottom, free to play. Nobody will spend more than $1 on a game at any given point. And I'm admittedly being a touch alarmist here, um, but still, I don't like the way I saw that trend going, and I don't like that I'm seeing endless runners and what else is on here? King Oddball was just really dumb. It looked kind of like Angry Birds, but you swing from the top of the screen rather than launch from a screenshot, but or slingshot. But it's basically Angry Birds. You destroy buildings. Night Terrors is this Flappy Bird plus you can also swing, and so that's like, but it's basically Flappy Bird with an extra button. I just
It's adding so much depth, dude.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going from one button to two buttons, so it's 100% more deep.
Is that how we determine how that works?
I guess I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I would never pay for a mobile game. That doesn't mean I won't do microtransactions, dear God. That doesn't mean I won't do mobile transactions.
I was just
But I
about
would
to call you
never-
out on that.
I would never pay up front for a mobile game
Yeah,
because it's the same thing I was talking about last week. If there's not a demo, I almost won't play your game unless there's a demo, unless it's something I know that I'm gonna, or at least pretty sure that I'm gonna like.
Breath of the
And so,
Wild or
like,
something.
Yeah, well, I was thinking specifically about Warriors because it's Fire Emblem and Warriors. I've played them both of those, and I like one of those, and I'm okay with the other one. But like, you get me in a free to play game like Fire Emblem Heroes, and oh my god, somebody's got to lock down my bank account because I can't be trusted.
You need a bank card that just automatically gets a little bit of money every paycheck to keep that
I
one in
need
check.
no, I need a bank card that like locks me out of in-app purchases. I actually looked at installing a thing on my phone that like turned it off after a while, and I was just like, yeah, I'll just be better. And then I was totally better.
And now you have 3 Sigurds.
So anyway,
So, but this is my point: is that kind of slide, and I don't know how much of the outside gaming world you pay attention to, but there's a lot of controversy right now about loot boxes in general.
oh yeah. Like the British government is like deciding if it's illegal or not, if it's gambling or not, rather.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a big AAA release that I'm actually kind of excited for, but I don't know about it. Shadow of, I can never remember. So the old one is Shadow of Mordor, I think, and the new one is Shadow of War. But it's a $60 AAA title from EA, and it's got loot boxes in it, and it's just kind of gross. And I don't like seeing between loot boxes in AAA games and this App Store feeling games being added. I just I'm afraid that those two things converge into something that is very gross and very not something that I want to participate in anymore. And I know that like with phone games, if you don't go free to play, you don't make money, and that's just how that works. And it's
Yeah, and that's like, and Sony was saying recently, and I think like the most recent reports back that up, that like mobile is the future of gaming, which is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. It makes up some like percentage of the gaming industry in Japan is like, I want to say 85% of the revenue. Was that the number? I sent you that article. I can't remember what it said. It was like 85% of the revenue comes from mobile games.
yeah. I know that I saw that
Disgusting.
the revenue was up 400% over last year.
Nuts. Like
Yeah.
totally nuts.
And it's
I
all
was ready.
Hmm?
I was ready to be done with it personally, with mobile games all together after playing Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's like it's the Fire Emblem Heroes for Final Fantasy.
Mhm.
I really like if there's a thing I like more than Fire Emblem, it's Final Fantasy. And oh my god, that mobile game ruined Final Fantasy for me.
Yeah.
It was like predatory how they did it.
Mhm.
I'm okay with Heroes despite spending so much money because I feel like I'm getting something out of it. Like my two Horse Emblem teams or whatever make it feel like it's not a complete waste of money, even though I know it is. Brave Exvius just took my money and punched me in the face. So
Yeah. I will say about Warrior or Heroes that it feels semi-fair. I amassed like what $80 in premium currency just by playing the game. Like, granted, it took me a month, but it was there. It was fair, and that's not always the case. And I think with someone less consumer focused, you will not see that happen. Candy Crush is the great example. You know, you can compare Fire Emblem Warrior or Heroes. I keep doing that. Heroes
Same
to
thing.
Candy Crush, and you can see that Candy Crush is very exploitative. It's very, as you said, punch you in the face when it takes your money. Whereas Heroes,
Yeah.
Heroes is the mobile game. Whereas Heroes feels like you can succeed without dropping $100. And I don't know. I just don't want to see those developers like King come in and make that crap. I just don't want that crap in my app store. And
Yeah, I'm simultaneously the problem and the solution. I'll never play your game, but I'll never pay for your game up front.
Yeah.
I'd rather like I wish Heroes had been like a even $10. Like here's pay $10 and then you just get these heroes on rotation or something like that. Like every time there's a new hero, you just get them.
hmm
But of course, they wouldn't make nearly as much money
Yeah, I mean, I've put more than that into it. You know,
this
uh,
week.
yeah, I'm not a whale. Like I don't go wild with this kind of stuff, and that's the problem is that it's just so much more profitable to go gacha, and people go wild for that stuff. I I saw some maybe we're getting a little off here, but I saw a mode recently where it was like free to play, kind of like League of Legends, but you could buy everything. So it was League of Legends, but spend $30 and you get everything forever. And I think every time I've seen that, within the first 6 months or so, they cancel it.
Oh, we have that with Atlas
I
Reactor?
was just gonna go there. Yeah, the three
Yeah,
people that have
yeah.
heard of Atlas Reactor, yeah, that's what they did. And I,
The
I,
game is revolutionary.
I mean, it's basically just an Overwatch clone. I don't understand.
Yeah, totally.
Um, but yeah, so I've seen that before with not just them, and it always devolves into, we're just gonna go gachapon, we're just gonna go loot boxes because,
Because you shoot yourself in the foot when you do that.
yeah, if people will pay $5 for the new hero, then $30 for every hero forever very quickly becomes not profitable or less
Yeah,
profitable.
absolutely. I like the way League of Legends did it is they broke it out into bundles. So like you could have this section of 30 heroes for this amount of money and it was a massive discount. And it was good for well, I don't know how good it was for League, but it was good for us because we could get a bunch of heroes. Granted they were all like the old ones, the older ones.
hmm Yeah, that
But
stopped being a
like
thing after the first 50 heroes.
exactly. Well, don't they have like three or four? Last time I was in there were like three or four different bundles I thought I saw.
Yeah, they do like rotating bundles on a monthly basis, but it's like 5 heroes. But
Mm. It's that's the happy median, sadly.
I feel like there's space for a subscription service here, like WoW, but every
Would
month
you pay a subscription service for Fire Emblem Heroes or for Brave Exvius or
for heroes. I would, as I am right now. If tomorrow they went to a subscription service where it was $10 and you would get one copy of every new hero, I would absolutely do it. At the start, probably not, and that's kind of where the issue is, I guess, is that
and that's where I am. I will never, especially for mobile games, I have a really hard time buying your game if I can't play it first.
mhm,
If I can't decide I like it first. So
yeah,
like yeah, I don't see that working as much as I would love for that to work.
I want to believe X Files in here. Yeah, I think that about wraps up that. Unless you've got some more thoughts.
No, that's all I got.
Oh, well, you want to take us out?
I'll let you.
All right. So this is where we would do emails. We have an email. We are desynced nerds on your screen. DESYNCED at gmail.com. No, there's nerds in there. Desynced nerds is our full title. We also have a Twitter account at DesyncNerds. I'm gonna put this up on YouTube later, so we'll have that. Comment there. You leave us reviews on app stores, Stitcher or iTunes. We will read those here. But yeah, other than that, we would love to hear from you guys. And with that, we're out.
Peace.